Hello there. Hope you are doing well. So here we have one of the passages from the reading comprehension section. And the direction for the passage is what? The direction states that answer the following question based on the information given below. Well, let's go to the first passage and discuss the passage, and then after we'll move to the text. Now, what do you think that what this passage is on? If we see that what the passage begins with what a crucial prejudice which constantly finds great sustenance from the exact natural sciences. The belief that human nature must be experienced and investigated under two fundamentally irreducible aspects because it is composed of two substances, the body and the mind. So the body is known as a extended things and the mind, which is known as a thinking things. Human beings exist in a precarious equilibrium between body, self, and what, such that there are no events for behavior. The need for equilibrium is something that confronts humans at every moment. It is a problem for us as it is not for animals or plants. The human beings is a vexed organism that had to first make himself into what he already is to lead the life he lives. And this means, among other things, that humans cannot simply respond to internal or external stimuli, nor even just make instrumental choices to pursue a goal. Instead, we are rival cursed to be aware of the necessity of these things at the same time. We must do them, matching ourselves, watching ourselves decide how to act, knowing always that it might be otherwise, and that each move is a necessary arbitrary necessary. Right? This is obviously awkward. Normally we manage, sometimes we cannot, then laughing or crying result. So when the self is confronted with a situation that broaches no response, the body takes over, although laughing and crying can be viewed from the perspective of either mind or body. Neither on its own it's sufficient to understand it. A physiological analysis of what the body undergoes might measure and describe the process and movement involved, but it cannot assemble them into a coherent whole. Nor can it account, nor can it account for why human bodies do these things or how they signify, how they are understood by other humans, how they are caused by sad or funny occasions that necessarily have some meaning for the person who laughs or cries. At most, the purely physiological approach amount to a reducive mechanical materialism. Looking at only at the ideas or looking only at the ideas, emotions or situations that occasion laughing or crying. On the other hand, along the domain or aesthetics and latter of psychology can link laughing and crying to questions of meaning, but they cannot get us very far in understanding them as bodily reactions. The key point is that laughing and crying must be understood as emerging from the complex situation of a human embodiment. All living things have a functional relationship to the border of their own bodies, while non living things do not. Even a single celled organism has a stake in its own boundary, as that which both separates it from and connects it to its environment. At a level far below and before consciousness, living organisms must necessarily both preserve their boundaries to remain intact and transgress them to eat, to excrete, to breathe, to multiply, to live. Concept of what personal positionality differentiates the way in which various forms of life relate to their own bodily border. This allows to think of embodiment at a level of abstraction where something like a self, whatever it is that has a relationship to its own body, can come out independently of consciousness, mind, or vital point. Hope you understood the text. So if we look into that, the passage explores what? Explores the complex nature, complex nature of what? Complex nature of human existence, complex nature of human existence, right? So even emphasizing the dualistic view of body and mind that has been prevalent in natural sciences. It argues that humans live in a constant state. So humans live in a constant state, isn't it? Human lives in a constant state. Uh, constant state of what? A constant state of balancing between body, balancing between body, and you can say that body, state, and world, not like animals or plants. This, you can say that precarious equilibrium or balance makes the human behavior inherently uncertain and also you can say that complex, uncertain and complex, isn't it? So, and beside that, as we are always aware of our actions and their arbitrary nature, the passage particularly, that's what the passage particularly focuses on laughing and crying, which cannot be fully understood through either uh, you can say physiological or psychological perspective along but must be seen as products of our embodied existence. So in that case, if you this is what nothing but the description of the text, and if I talk about the main idea of the text, so I can say that the main idea is nothing but a challenge the reduction's view of what? View of a human behavior that separates body and mind, and proposing nothing but uh, instead that human actions such as laughing and crying, they are deeply rooted in the complex, complex embodied nature, embodied, embodied nature of what? Human existence. Human existence, isn't it? Human existence. So that is what you would find out. And if I talk about the tone of the text, we can say that the tone of the passage is nothing but analytical, analytical, and you can say that critical in nature, critical, right? Analytical and critical. So likewise, we can also talk about the style. So if we talk about the style of the passage, the style is indicating as a analytical, sorry, academical one, right? And philosophical, academical, philosophical, and even you can say that employing sophisticated language and concepts, right? Um, the passage uses detailed expressions and examples of to support its argument, making it suitable for an audience with a background in philosophy or cognitive sentences. So in that case, we can say it is a philosophical, right? Philosophical and academical one, and academic, right? So if I go for the detailed breakdown of this text, so what I can find out, it has a dualistic view in natural sciences. The belief in the separation of body and mind continues in natural sciences. And this view holds that human nature must be investigated as two distinct substances. One is known as a body, and another one is a mind. Then we talk about human equilibrium, in which we understood humans exist in a state of what? Precarious balance between body, self, and the mind. Body, self, and mind. Self and mind. Uh, Beside that, what's it? Uh, Body, self, and world, you can say, right? The equilibrium presents constant challenges, not like in animal or plants. So that is what you would find out. Well, let's come to the question here. So what the question here, it asks which of the following cannot be inferred from the passage. Now, if I look at each and every option, so the first option said laughing and crying are bodily reactions. that come out from the complex situation of human embodiment. Right. Second, it is stated human beings exist in a precarious equilibrium between body, self, and world, facing the necessity of equilibrium at even every moment. Right. Three stated a purely physiological analysis of laughing and crying can provide a comprehensive understanding of their importance. And the fourth one, we can say human embodiment involves a functional relationship to the borders of the body, requiring both preservation and transgression of these boundaries. Now, if I look into this one, the question asks us to identify which statement cannot be inferred from the passage. Now, if I look at the first option, laughing and crying are bodily reactions that come out from the complex situation of human embodiment. Now, the statement can be, you can say that inferred from the passage, as the passage discusses how laughing and crying, right? How laughing and crying, you can say that uh, are bodily reactions that arise from the complex relationship between the body self and the external world, right? So when we talk about laughing and crying, we can find out here in parts, like here one is given, laughing and crying, then laughing and crying result. Uh, right. So beside that also, we can talk about laughing and crying substances and human being exist in human beings, nor even okay. Of what normally we manage, sometimes we cannot, then laughing and crying when the self is confronted with a situation that produces no response, the body takes over. Although laughing and crying can be viewed from the perspective of either mind or body, right? So that's what it is appointed. Uh, so this can be inferred from the passage, as the passage discusses how laughing and crying are bodily reaction, body, self, and the external world. Now, in that case, this is inferred, so this cannot be called as an answer to it. Second, human beings exist in a precarious equilibrium between body, self, and world, facing the necessity of equilibrium at every moment. Now, if I object this particular statement, what do I can draw here? This statement is also, you can say that, be inferred from the passage. The passage emphasizes the precarious equilibrium, right? Precarious equilibrium uh, that humans must maintain between their physical existence, their sense of self, and their interaction with the world around them. Right. Now, in that case, this option also inferred. Then three, a purely physiological analysis of laughing and crying can provide a comprehensive understanding of their significance. So this statement cannot be inferred. Why? From the passage. The passage actually suggests the opposite, that while a purely physiological analysis can describe the physical process involved in laughing and crying, it cannot fully explain their importance or how they are interpreted by others, right? So in that case, this option cannot be inferred. So 1 and 2 can be uh, inferred, but 3 cannot infer. Right? So in that case, we can consider option 3 will be correct. Okay, let's look at the option 4. Option 4 stated that human embodiment involves a functional relationship uh, to the borders of the body, requiring body preservation and transgression of its boundary. Now, this statement can be inferred too from the passage. The passage discusses how how all living organisms, uh, including, you can say, humans, uh, or you can say that have a functional relationship with the boundaries of their body. needing to both preserve these boundaries for survival and transgress them for various life activities. Isn't it? Hence, this can be inferred from the passage. Only option 3 that cannot be inferred, right, will be known as the answer to this question. Okay. So, therefore, we can consider that the conclusion will be what? Based on the passage analysis, provided option 3 is the statement that cannot be inferred from the text. Uh, the passage suggests that a purely physiological analysis of laughing and crying falls short in providing a comprehensive understanding of their importance. It implies that understanding these emotional expressions requires more than just a physiological measurements. It involves their, mm, you can say that social and physiological, psychological meaning as well. Therefore, the correct answer, which cannot be inferred from the passage, is option 3, right? A purely physiological analysis of laughing and crying can provide a comprehensive understanding of their importance. So hence 3 is the answer. Hope you understood this. That's all. Thank you.